What's going on, YouTube? Nick Vidal with Plant Strength. I just want to make this video. A lot of people have been asking me about sauerkraut. I make a lot of fermented foods, especially cultured vegetables, and they're a very important part of the diet. They're loaded with probiotics. It's going to be much cheaper and much more potent when you make a probiotic at home as opposed to spending $30 or $40 for a probiotic in the store. This is going to be the easiest way to do it. It's going to be a simple sauerkraut recipe, and it's going to be a couple of easy steps, and you're going to have your own homemade sauerkraut within about 15 minutes. And we're going to get to work. So with cabbage, we're going to take the outer leaves off. Cabbage doesn't necessarily need to be organic. It is on the Clean 15 list, which you can Google up. It's not heavily sprayed with pesticides, but I like to take off the outer leaves. You could give it a quick rinse if you want. And then we're going to put it down. We're going to quarter the cabbage into 4 ways. It's going to be the easiest. If you want, you could put this in a food processor. You could get the cabbage. The key here is you want to shred it as finely as possible. The smaller and the thinner the cabbage is, the easier it is going to be for the bacteria to break down the cabbage. So we're gonna you want to cut your stems out. This is the core of the cabbage. You don't want that in your sauerkraut. It's going to be real tough. It's going to give a real bitter taste to the sauerkraut. So just check that those pieces are out. And you're basically going to take one of your quarters and just start slicing as thin as possible. The thinner you can get it, the better it's going to be. Now we're going to cut this up real fine, and once you have it cut, the key here is we're going to massage the cabbage. And with typical sauerkraut, you want it to ferment for a couple of days. The longer it ferments, the better and more potent it's going to be, and you'll be able to taste it. Typically, if it's going to take at least 3 days to ferment, you want to put it in your closet or any type of dark, semi-warm place. If you leave it for more than 3 days, in my opinion, it's going to be much better. I usually leave mine for probably 5 to 7 days, but that's for your own experimentation. See what you like, see what taste and texture you like. It's going to get softer the longer you let it sit. So we're just going to continue to slice this. If you wanted to use a mandolin, if you have a mandolin, feel free, go right ahead. The reason I like to use a knife is because I like to put my energy into the food. I really want to have a good relationship with the food that I prepare. It's going into my body, and it's a very important aspect when cooking and preparing meals at home. You always want to spend a good quality time with your food. I consider the body a temple, and you're putting this into your body, so you want it to be strong as possible, and you want to create it with a lot of love. The reason we're making it, a lot of people are going to ask, well, why you can't just buy it in the store? The reason for that is because they pasteurize the sauerkraut on the shelves so that way it doesn't spoil. What happens when you pasteurize something, you basically kill off bad microbes and organisms, but you also kill off all the benefits, all the beneficial bacteria, which would be called your probiotics, and that's what we want here. That's what makes sauerkraut special. A lot of different cultures fermented foods in the past, and today we still have sauerkraut. You can get it in the store, but it's going to be pasteurized, and you don't want that, because once you pasteurize it, you eliminate all the health benefits from the sauerkraut. Basically, I try to include about a serving a day. A serving is going to be about a half cup. Now, some people are going to say, okay, I don't want to eat a half a cup of sauerkraut a day. that's still okay. You don't have to. The more you have it in your diet, the more often you include fermented foods, the better the benefit's going to be. If you don't want to eat sauerkraut, feel free to just, you can take the cabbage out and save the liquid or the brine that we're going to create. Save that and have the leftover brine, and you could put that in a shot glass or anything like that, and 2 to 4 ounces of the brine is going to be the same benefits that you would get when you're creating your sauerkraut. Basically what happens when you ferment vegetables, the bacteria actually eat away the sugars and the starches of the vegetables. So they're going to basically break down the vegetables. It's almost like cooking, how you would cook vegetables to make them more edible or more easily digested. That's how ancient cultures used to do this. That's why fermented foods came about. When the winter months would come and crops were in short supply, they would ferment their vegetables, and it would basically get them through the winter. They're already pretty much prepared, ready for the body to digest. And as the bacteria eat up these sugars, what happens is your vitamin C and all your other vitamins and nutrients in the sauerkraut or the vegetable that you're using actually increase, and the body's able to use them more readily. So this is in another way, you're pretty much making your cabbage as healthy as possible. And now you could do a lot of things with this. You can add this to a salad. That's the easiest way I find to add sauerkraut into my daily diet. Anytime I'm making a salad or a vegetable dish, half a cup of sauerkraut right on the salad. It gives a good tang. It's going to be a bitter, lemony tang to your salad dish. So you could also mix up some of that juice with some avocado and some herbs, and you could create basically a probiotic dressing with your sauerkraut. Now we're going to just take all the cabbage that we cut. You just want to get a big enough bowl here, and I'm going to get sea salt real quick. You could use any type of sea salt. I personally recommend that you use Himalayan pink sea salt if you can. If not, definitely sea salt. The regular table salt is poison. It's sodium chloride. Does not break down in the body the right way. Leads to a ton of diseases. For this amount, for 1 head of cabbage, we're basically going to put about a teaspoon, maybe a little more, of salt in this entire mixture. And so we're going to mix it with our salt. You want to use about maybe a tablespoon of sea salt for your entire head of cabbage. We got the cabbage shredded up real nicely in the bowl. This is why we want thin cabbage. The thinner you can get it, the better, because now we're going to actually get in here and we're going to break down this cabbage as much as we can. I like to call it massaging the cabbage. Basically, we're going to pull as much brine and liquid out of this cabbage as we can. This is what your cabbage or your sauerkraut's going to be sitting in. And the reason why we want this brine pulled out is because we want to limit the chances of it getting mold. We want a good fermentation without bad bacteria in there. And as long as the cabbage or whatever vegetables you're using is sitting under that brine, it's going to be okay. You could feel free, this is a simple sauerkraut recipe, you could feel free to put cloves of garlic in there. You could put other spices, herbs, onions. If you wanted to grate a couple of carrots, you could grate carrots. I prefer the green or white cabbage as opposed to the red cabbage. I find it gives a better taste, but definitely experiment. You could mix the two up. You could do whatever you want with it. The idea is as long as we're fermenting the food, we're getting the health benefits. So we're going to sit here. We're going to massage this. You want to massage it for, it's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes. Now, the easy way to not waste your time, which I like to do a lot, you could put on a real good song, maybe put on the radio, anything that you were going to listen to. What I personally do is, if you want to sit down and listen to a motivational audio book or any type of motivational tapes or inspirational tapes, it's a good way. You're killing two birds with one stone because you're learning something at the same time that you're preparing good food that's going to go into your body. And before you know it, you could really get 15 minutes will pass by in a couple of seconds, and you'll have a lot of brine here, a lot of love into the food, and it's just going to lead to a much better sauerkraut, much better tasting. So we're gonna come back in about 10 or 15 minutes, and we're gonna show you what this looks like. Then we're gonna jar it up, put it in the closet, and we're gonna leave it. Hey, we're back. It's been about 15 minutes. Still massaging the cabbage a little. I just sat down to listen to the audiobook Thinking Big by Schwartz, and excellent audiobook about success, making the most out of your life, and believing that you could achieve what you set your mind to. But anyways, you see what I mean? This is what I wanted to show you. This is why we're breaking this down for 15 minutes. The cabbage is now really broken down, and this brine, this liquid that's coming out, that's what we wanted. So it might take you 10 minutes, it might take you 20 minutes. You need to keep breaking down and massaging this cabbage until you get that liquid out. Now if you have a mason jar, that's going to be great. If you don't have a big one, you could use a couple of small ones. You just want to leave a little bit of space at the top. I basically use the bigger mason jars. Going to fit all of this in one mason jar. You could put this over the bowl. It's going to be easy, so that way you're not getting sauerkraut and juice all over the place. You can just pack this right in there. And basically packing this is about a head of cabbage that's going in here. You figure this probably be enough sauerkraut for about a week. So you're getting tons and tons, there's tens of trillions of bacteria in here. If you got a probiotic supplement, you might get a couple of billion, but this jar right here is the equivalent of you having, I don't know, 5 or 6 bottles of probiotics. And I paid $1.50 for this head of cabbage. We're using water and salt, so figure $1.50 plus the cost of the mason jar, and you have the most powerful probiotics that you can buy. We're going to take the rest of this brine, we're going to pour right in. We're going to get all the rest of that sauerkraut as much as we can and get that in there. I'm going to come in here, wash my hands a little. Now the key is to pack this down. I don't know where my water bottle is. The key is to pack this down as much as possible, and we're going to submerge this with water. But really you want to break it down, and you want to get that brine over as much of this cabbage as possible. You don't want to use anything metal in here, pretty much because the bacteria are an acid, a lacto-bacillus bacteria, which is acidic. When you're putting metal into here, it's going to wear down the metal a little bit. So you definitely want to use plastic. I know plastic's not the greatest thing to be using, but it's better than you having metal broken down inside your sauerkraut. If you don't have enough, alright, so we're gonna continue packing down the sauerkraut here. We're gonna add a little bit of water just because I want a little more liquid in here. This plastic bottle, it's Brita bottle, it's filtered, so you always want filtered water whenever possible, as often as possible. You don't want all those contaminants in here. Basically, you're going to get that liquid, have the cabbage sitting underneath the brine. We're going to scrape as much of this cabbage off the side as we can. We packed it down real good. A real easy way to do this, take a Ziploc sandwich bag. We're going to put this in top here. The reason we're doing this, some people like to go airtight. Some people like some air. I like it to have a good seal with some air. So basically you're going to have it here. This is it. We're done. You're going to leave this in the closet for about 3 to 7 days. I just want to show you that once you put your bag in, you're going to take this whole jar, you're going to put it right into a dark spot, preferably a closet or a cabinet. You're going to leave it like that for like 5 to 7 days. This one I have here, this is 4 days old. If you get close, you can notice the difference. This is going to be sort of green. This is your first day. As it sits in the closet, it's going to turn sort of whitish yellow. That's how you know when it's done. It's also going to have a very tart, tangy taste. We want to let it air out a little. If you choose to leave your lid on instead of using the plastic bag, every so often, every couple of hours, you'd want to go in, open the lid, air it out, and close it back up, because the fermentation process is going to cause some gas in there. And when you want to stop the fermentation process, you can just put the lid on, you put it right in the refrigerator. It'll stop it or slow it down drastically. This is going to last about probably a month to 2 months inside the refrigerator. Experiment with things. If you want to try it, you can ferment it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's all up to you. You see what works best for you. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got a lot out of it, and I hope that you can make some good sauerkraut, and now you have some good probiotics to use for you and your family.